Assalamu alaikum and welcome to a new episode of Fullmetal Fukumi Otaku News. So, as always, I'm going to start with some quick stuff here to talk about the coffee blog where I'm posting articles about the otaku, anime, games, Japanese games, etc. And recently I published this article, like I don't like talking about discourse, but this is a specific thing that you can understand if you speak Japanese a little bit and if you check Twitter regularly is how there's a lot of discourse that is imported from the English side of Twitter. So I made a quick article about this, and because I don't like talking about discourse, like this is only the first half of the article, and then I end up talking about stuff like such as Sengoku Collection, which is one of my favorite anime of the last decade. So Sengoku Collection, Senkore, initially a mobile game by Konami, and then they made an anime. Really incredible anime in two course 26 episodes. Like if you haven't watched it, you should definitely try and watch it. Like you won't regret it, in my opinion. And like how every episode is different, so don't stop at episode 1 and just keep watching, and you'll see how much of an incredible masterpiece it is. And in my opinion, just from the first episode, it's really good. So yeah, I'd appreciate it if you can check my article about this, and if you watch this series as well. And I also did another article today talking about the drip marketing MiHoYo does every time when there's a new Genshin patch, right? Uh, Usually it's always right before or right after the new Genshin patch update get released. They tease the next characters to be released on social media. And this is what we call drip marketing because that's what the jokes PR person at MiHoYo did back when they started doing this. So yeah, and the next character in the next update is going to be Skirk. So she's finally going to be playable. And Skirk is a character that you would hear about from Chill Day right from the game's release, like even from the beta. I think in the beta, even before release, in the beta, if yeah, no, it's not at the beta because in the beta, Shield Day wasn't playable yet. But as soon as Shield Day became playable and you could read his lines, his dialogue in profile lines in the menu, you could hear him talking about his master, Skak, and how like she's the one who trained him back when he fell into the abyss and stuff. And so yeah, like, and we actually saw her at the end of the Fontaine Man story for the first time ever, and I was incredibly disappointed to see like she just looks like just a random anime girl. But like to be honest, like I wasn't expecting something like I wasn't expecting her to be some kind of old lady warrior because there's no way they would do this because it wouldn't sell. But I was still expecting something a bit different than a random like gacha looking character. So I was a bit disappointed about this. I've wrote an article about it. So yeah, if you can, please check out the coffee source for some exclusive content. I have two tiers right now, the $5 tiers with my impressions on some animes and games I'm playing, and then the $10 tier, which is all the in-depth stuff I'm writing, the translations I'm doing, etc. So yeah, if you can, please be sure to like and subscribe to the YouTube as well, as this helps me out. It's really helps me out with the algorithm and stuff. So yeah. So Nihon Falcom and Gung Ho has announced that the Sora no Kiseki the Trail in the Sky first chapter remake is going to release on PC, PS5 and Nintendo Switch on September 19th, 2025. So this date, the end of September, is not coming off as a surprise if you're familiar with Nihon Falcom and Falcom games, because for at least 10 years now, Falcom has always been releasing their yearly release, their yearly game. They always release it in the last 10 days of September, in the last week of September, right before the end of their financials. And this is a pattern they've been following for over 10 years now. So every single Falcom fan, like if you know about the Japanese release a little bit, you knew that the remake will be releasing at the end of September. So this is not a surprise. And so they most probably they announce new DLC, they announce pre-order DLCs and like first print copies DLC. So they announced first print copy DLCs in how they announced several DLCs with and all they announced several DLCs and announced them in the limited edition, in the Japanese limited edition. And I don't think they detailed the English limited edition yet, but the Japanese limited edition has been detailed. And most notably, they revealed that in the like some of the hardcore fans have already noticed, but the thing is, in the remake, they actually changed designs, the clothes designs of Estelle and Joshua a little bit. So basically, if you buy the limited edition of the game, you'll be able to switch the models to make it so the models is more like the original game on PC, or more like the remake, because for the remake they redid the models and they changed their designs a bit. For example, her shoulder pad is a little bit smaller compared to the original. And it's pretty funny because this means they actually did 2 times the amount of work, because they could have just made these, but they actually remade the original designs in 3D, and then the brand new designs of the remake, they made them 3D models as well. So there are slight differences, like the shoes and like the shoulder pad, and like you can see her hair originally was like blacker, and now it's more shiny. And for Joshua as well, originally his hair was much blacker. In the following games, his hair was like light blue. So now for the remake, right from the start, they gave his model a light blue color. And Joshua as well, the shoulder pad is different, and the shirt, the upper shirt, the vest is a bit different. The belt is completely different. The gauntlets are slightly different, and the shoes are different as well. So if you buy the Japanese limited edition, you'll be able to get this. But you should be careful, because they didn't specify yet if the Japanese version of the game you actually includes the languages yet, the other languages or not. So if you want to buy the game in Japanese, you should be ready to play it in Japanese, because they didn't specify yet. Usually they specify the languages, but they haven't here. The other thing is how in first print copies and pre-order bonuses, you will have the DLC costume, which is like a big version of the original models of the original game on PC from 20 years ago. So, and you can remove the heads as well. So you can just use the body, or you can use the body and head together. So if you remove the head, it looks like they're wearing a kigurumi. So it's pretty funny. And so they introduce more characters. I already talked about this, but sadly, nearly all of the cast had their seiyuu changed, which is not particularly a big deal, but this is a big deal in this case because the Kiseki, the trial series, is not over yet, so it's pretty weird to change the cast, the seiyuu, when none of them has passed away, and they're all still active, and some of them are still pretty popular. SaGa Mitsuki, the seiyuu of Joshua, is an incredibly popular series, one of the most popular seiyuu. So I guess Falcom wanted to do things cheaper, so they picked like a newer and novice seiyuu. So like it's not like they will be bad, because this is something I want to talk about in specific articles, and I wish I'll be able to pitch this to some game sites at some point. But the seiyuu industry in Japan is extremely complicated lately, and it's also completely, it's all congratulated in how there's no space anymore, and there's way too many tenants suddenly. And it's not that new seiyus are less popular, are less talented, but they don't get popular because it's only specific seiyuu that the companies and the managers and the agencies will push. So there's tons of very popular, there's tons of very talented seiyuu, but they're new and they never get popular, sadly. And there's also something I often talk about regarding Heaven Burns Red, in how nearly all the characters in Heaven Burns Red are voiced by some new seiyuu, and they only did like 1 or 2 roles in other gacha games before. And they're extremely talented, but sadly, it's unlikely they will ever get really popular, because unless they get a really good push from a specific company or from a specific project. So yeah, even the problem is not that they are new seiyuu, because even if they're new, it's very likely that they're very talented, and we didn't get to hear them yet, but it's very likely they will be very talented. But the problem is that the series, the Kiseki series, the trailer series is still not over. So these characters like Estelle's dad, like uh, Josette, etc. It's all these characters. It's possible they will actually appear again in future games, but this creates some kind of a problem because if you are older fan, you wanted them to keep their voices, right? And Estelle and Joshua as well. So, and Estelle and Joshua, they will definitely, like, obviously at some point they will appear again in future games after Trials Beyond the Horizon, which is English name of Kai no Kiseki, which was announced in English a few weeks ago. In Trails Beyond the Horizon, after this game, obviously at some point Estelle and Joshua will come back, right? But it sucks, like, because if they follow this remake, this means that they won't keep their original voices. So that's a big problem, like, and it doesn't have anything to do with the new seiyus, whether they're good or not. It's just like it's extremely weird for a series, and usually Japanese series they never do that, replacing seiyu if they didn't pass away and they didn't get into a scandal and they didn't stop working in the seiyu industry. Usually a seiyu never ever gets replaced, even like 20 years later, 30 years later, if they sometimes in remake projects, sometimes they get replaced. It depends. But usually when it comes to sequels, like even 20 years later, 30 years later, if it's a sequel, they don't really change the seiyuu. So it's really, really weird. And it's really, like, I have a lot of complicated feelings about all this. So, like, I don't know what's going to happen, like when Estelle and Joshua come back in future games after Trails Beyond the Horizon. Like, will they keep the original seiyuu or will they take the ones from the remake? Like, this is very worrying. And the other thing I wanted to talk about is how, with the release date of the game, this is a worldwide release date, and the game is in French as well. And I'm a bit worried about this because Gung-Ho, they also did the Grandeur remasters, and the French translation of the Grandeur remasters were kinda so-so, so I'm kinda worried about the French translation of Sora no Kiseki remake. But at the same time, I'm definitely excited that it exists because I'll be able to recommend the game to my nieces. So the other thing I wanted to talk about is how they also announced a season pass for 3,500 yen. So they announced a season pass in Japan, but they didn't say what the season pass will include. So this is a bit worrying as well because maybe I don't think they will add new story elements via season pass because obviously they're if this sells well, obviously they're going to remake second chapter as well. So there's no point, like the story is all already written, so they can't add story elements via DLC. But I guess maybe it's going to be like the usual stream suites and the usual bonus costumes. But it's kinda weird that they announced a season pass, but they didn't say anything about it. So it's just a little bit worrying. And if you look at the English page, I think they don't even talk about the season pass. So, like, I wonder what's going to happen there. Like, if the season pass will be something exclusive to the Japanese version, I don't think so, right? So, physical and digital, and like you have the same information, the same release date, but they didn't talk about a season pass or anything. So, like, I'm wondering what's up with that. And if I was an actual journalist, I would send an email to Gung-Ho to ask them, but since I'm technically not paid or anything to do this, so maybe I'll do it to see how it goes. Maybe I'll do it and talk about it in a future video. But yeah, this is the Trails in the Sky remake. Like, I'm definitely excited for this, and I hope the game will be pretty good, so yeah. And I forgot to talk about this as well, is how in Japan they announced shop-specific pre-order bonuses as well. So this makes me even more puzzled about the season pass, because in the shop-specific pre-order bonuses, they already announced some swimsuits costumes. So if you pre-order a Geo, you would get the swimsuit costume for Estelle. If you pre-order a Rakuten books, you would get the costume, the swimsuit for Joshua, etc. And then Wonder Goose, they have some postcards, some tapestries. They don't have sample illustrations yet. And then all these other shops, they have DLC items sets. So DLC is stuff to help you get money or experience or items and equipment in the game, etc. And gamers, there's some keychains. Ami, they have some acrylic key stand and clear posto card. So yeah, I'm even more puzzled now because if in the shop specific period of bonuses you already have the swimsuit DLC costumes, so I'm wondering what will be in the season pass after all. So yeah, this is very puzzling. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. I guess the yeah, as we get closer and closer to the release date, Falcom usually they start making more and more PR for the September release starting around this time of the year. So now we got the release date, and now maybe every 3 or 2 weeks we'll get a new batch of information. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. So the next thing I want to talk about is the next Toho game, right? This was announced like a few weeks ago or so. Like this is the first one in 2 or 3 years. Like Zune has been releasing a new one like every 2 or 3 years, like these last 5 years or so. And I think that's the previous one, the 19th one was like 2 or 3 years ago. So yeah, so anyway, so there was a demo, right? Published on Steam and on GL site for the 20th Toho game, and a lot of people have noticed that the game actually used some AI generated art. And so yeah, the Automaton Media, pretty good Japanese site, which with a really good English site you should check out, in my opinion. They are the best when it comes to dealing with Japanese news because they have several professional Japanese translators and their writers are Japanese or speak English and Japanese. So this is the best site when it comes to Japanese news, and it's the least likely site to do mistranslations. So you should check them out for Japanese news if you can't read Japanese yourself. So yeah, and they're talking like the 20th mainline entry in the Toho project series, Toho Kinjokyo Fossilized Wonders, is going to be released in the August 2025 in the next Toho Sankasai, Seikaisai, I forgot how it's called, the festival thing that they do every year. So yeah, and fans has previously speculated that some of the in-game content must start be the spell card backgrounds, maybe AI generated due to their appearance. And then a Steam warning was added to the game because Steam, this is one of the few good things Steam does, is how it's mandatory for developers to disclose that they're using AI generated content in their game. So yeah, and this is like complicated because when it comes to Japanese Toho fans, they noted that the version of the game on DL site didn't include a disclaimer, a disclosure to say that the game contains AI generated art at first. So a lot of Japanese Toho fans, noted that he's a bit dishonest and this is kind of weird. And so yeah, so the reason why I'm talking about this is because, to be honest, like obviously as an otaku myself, I know about Toho for 20 years and I like Toho as a whole, but at the same time, like I'm not like such a big Toho head. So the reason why I'm talking about this is I think this is a good reminder to never put people on a pedestal, be it Dune or be it like whatever developer you like or whatever figure you like be it in games, whatever Japanese developer you like, Kojima or Yoko Taro, or like whatever composer or anything. At the end of the day, we are all human beings, right? So we can all do mistakes and we can all end up doing some bad stuff. And like this is a good reminder, in my opinion, to talk about this and how personally would like this is something I regularly think about, not only as a black person, because obviously like there's a lot of artists like I like them. It's highly possible that they're actually racist or they actually don't like black people, and as a Muslims, as it's also possible, very likely that they don't like Muslims, etc. So I try to never put people on a pedestal, and like this is a good reminder to never do this because you never know how people will change and what they will do. So yeah, whatever artists like, whatever Japanese artists who like developers or composers or artists or illustrators or mangaka or whatever, they they can always end up doing some kind of weird choices like this. For example, in this case regarding AI generated stuff, or they can end up doing even worse stuff like actual evil stuff, actual bad, really bad stuff like abuse, etc. So you never know how things will go. So you should never put people on a pedestal and should never expect them to never do mistakes or to never do anything evil or never do mistakes or never do errors or never do anything bad. So this is just the reason why I want to talk about this, because at the end of the day, for now, and maybe we won't know, I don't know if Zune is actually going to talk about it. Like for now, we don't know why he did this, and if it's intentional or not. We can give him the benefit of the doubt, but personally, I think this is definitely intentional. But like, we don't know for now what happened, and we don't know if the actual full game releasing in August, we actually have AI generated art or not. So for now, we don't really know. But just for now, I just wanted to talk about how, yeah, you should always remember, like, even if it's your favorite artist, like, never put people on a pedestal or never expect them to never do anything bad. So it's been over a year now since Square Enix released SaGa Emerald Beyond, the brand new game in the SaGa franchise, which isn't a remaster or a remake. And for the occasion, Dengeki Online, which is an outlet owned by Kadokawa, which is one of the biggest Japanese publishers when it comes to anime, manga, games, etc. They published a special interview with Kawazu, the main author of the SaGa series. And I didn't read this interview yet because it's actually a spoiler, netabare Q&A. It's an interview. Sometimes Japanese games, like 1 year, like 6 months to 1 year after release, they do interviews where they talk about the game story in detail, like why this twist happens in the story, why did you decide to make the ending like this, etc. And this is this kind of interview. And I actually haven't played SaGa Emerald Beyond yet, so I haven't read the interview yet either. But I just wanted to tell you about it in case you did play the game yourself. Like, this is a really long interview with Kawazu talking about the game story, talking about some of the gameplay designs, etc., talking about the new game plus stuff, etc. Because SaGa Emerald Beyond is a very peculiar game with some stuff changing with each run, etc. So yeah, if you're interested, if you already cleared the game yourself, you should definitely check it out if you can speak Japanese, of course. Because sadly, I really don't recommend using machine translation because you will get some mistranslations and some weird stuff. So don't use machine translation. When I play the game myself and when I finish the game myself, I will try to translate this interview, inshallah. So maybe in 6 months, in 7 or 8 months, like I don't know how much time it will take me, but I'm definitely going to play SaGa Emerald Beyond one day, inshallah, and then I'm gonna try and translate this on my coffee blog. Well, yeah, and I should specify that this was actually a two-parter interview because the first part was released back in April 19th, and then the second part was released in early May, like a few days ago. So yeah, there's two articles with the interview. So I will include the links in the description below and in my own article about this episode of the news show. So if you're interested, please check it out. So for a little bit more than a month now, Bandai Namco and Sunrise, they've been celebrating the 30th anniversary of Gundam G, Gundam Wing, and Gundam X all together. And these are the first three alternate universe Gundam TV series. And they're all reaching their 30th anniversary. So they're doing a lot of brand new illustrations. So you have these brand new illustrations with the three heroines from each series, and you've got a lot of merch. Uh, you've got a lot of merch, most notably with animate stores all around Japan. They're publishing a lot of brand new merch with the characters, etc. So you have Garrod and Chifa, you have the boys from Ring, and you have Master Asia and Dolman, like brand new postcards, brand new stuff. Uh, you have acrylic keychains, acrylic stands, mini shikishis, keychains with some of the some of the episode titles. This one is pretty cool. あなたに力を. This is the second episode of Gundam X. This is a line Chifa says, because Gundam X is one of my favorite Gundam series and it's really good. And it's doing this thing it's not every anime that does this, but how each episode title is actually a line in the episode itself. And this is really cool. And there's a few anime series who do this. And so you have a lot of cool lines from the series that you can use as keychains. So like Gundam Uriyo, this is when Garrett says he's going to sell the Gundam episode 7. So a lot of these episode titles are cool dialogue lines in the actual episode, and they're used as episode titles. So yeah. You have these tapestries and badges and cushions and stuff, etc. And the other thing is how they also announced a talk show with Midorikawa Hikaru, alias Green River, one of the most popular legendary seiyuu of all time, with Hiro Yui in Gundam Wing. Is also Zelgadis in Slayers. He was also Koga, the protagonist of Senseiya Omega. He is also recently he did. More recently, who we voiced recently. I don't have other examples, but he's like one of the most popular and most famous seiyuu of all time. You've already heard his voice, definitely. And they're going to do a talk show with him at Animate. But the thing is, just like all these events, it's going to be a lottery, so not everyone will be able to go, obviously, and only people who win the lottery will be able to attend the event. And it's going to happen in September 12th, 2025. So in 4 months from now. So yeah, and Midorikawa Hikaru also has his own radio show, like every single popular seiyuu, and I listen to it from time to time, but sadly I never have time to make some articles about it or anything. So yeah. So I think you probably heard that they also did a sequel novel to G Gundam as well. So yeah, they are doing tons of small projects, tons of new merch for all these 3 series. And like you have all this merch as well. It's the same as I just showed. And each series has their own Twitter account as well, where they have been publishing new illustrations. And on the Gundam Wing official Twitter, they published back in April this brand new illustration with Hiro and Ririna together. And every day, these last few weeks, every day, like every 2 or 3 days, they've been publishing brand new illustrations with the main characters of Gundam Wing. So yeah, and some of the old animators and the old people who worked on the series have been publishing really, really funny illustrations as well. So yeah, Gundam Wing official Twitter has been publishing for Golden Week, because Golden Week is also GW, so it's also Gundam Wing. So during Golden Week, these last few days, they publish brand new illustrations of all the characters. So you have Zex Miliardo with the Epion, and then you have Wu Fei with Nataku, Quatre with Sunrock, Trora with Heavy Arms, Duo with Death Side. Obviously, Duo is my favorite, and Hero with the original Wing Gundam. So they've been publishing these for the Golden Week, and there's also the Overwatch 2 collabo, which you must have heard about. Personally, I couldn't care less about Overwatch, so I'm not going to play the game for this, even if I'm a huge Wing fan. So yeah. And if you never watched Gundam Wing, you've definitely heard the story is bad, etc. But even if, like, a lot of people say this, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. Like, obviously, if you watch it as a kid, you will have some fond memories of it. But I think even if you watch it now, it actually holds up, because a lot of people say, oh, the story doesn't make sense, like there's a lot of plot holes, etc. But it doesn't really matter that much at the end of the day, because it's still a really, really cool series with really fun characters, some really good moments, and some really great mecha designs and really cool characters, and some really good seiyuu. So yeah, even if you never watched it, like, no, I still recommend watching Gundam Wing and Gundam X. Among these 3, I think G Gundam is the most popular. G Gundam, like, is probably the most popular worldwide, be it in Japan or in the States or in Asia. Especially in Asia, G Gundam, like in Singapore, in Indonesia, in like China. I think it's extremely popular. I feel like, and it's one of the reasons why the latest Super Wars games have been really popular in Asia. It's one of the reasons why it's thanks to Gao Gaigar and thanks to G Gundam being in the games. So yeah, if you never watched these three series, you definitely will. You definitely should. And to be honest, myself, I actually never watched all of G Gundam myself, so I need to do it as well. So yeah, I just wanted to quickly talk about these uh, all these cool illustrations of Gundam Wing, all the new merch, etc. So yeah. Okay, so next I wanted to talk about 100 Line, the new game by Uchikoshi and Kodaka, right? So Famitsu Kadokawa has published their usual sales numbers in Japan from April 21st to May 4th. And 100 Line is first of the ranking with 26,732 copies sold on Switch. And first, when we talk about Famitsu sales numbers, there's many things you need to understand. First, Famitsu sales numbers is only physical sales. It's not digital sales, so it doesn't count Steam, and it doesn't count Switch Online, Nintendo Switch Online shop, eShop sales. So this is very important because in Japan, especially lately, these last 5 or 6 years, tons of people have been playing on PC because, like, these last 7 or 8 years, with several games became incredibly mainstream in Japan. You had Minecraft over 10 years ago, and then you had Apex Legend, Epe, and then you had Dead by Daylight, Dedoba, and then you had GTA 5 roleplay, and then you had Fortnite as well, and then you had Valorant, Battle, and then you had and I think that's all, and like Among Us and like all these type of games as well. So and then more recently, you had Street Fighter 6 as well, Sto 6, Sto 6. So Street Fighter 6, like you should watch videos that, for example, Majin Obama did about this to explain how Street Fighter 6, Sto 6, it became a mainstream game in Japan, just like as the other games I cited beforehand, just like Valorant, Apex Legend, Overwatch, Marvel Rivals, Fortnite, Minecraft, GTA 5 roleplay. All these games now they're in the same category of extremely mainstream game, and every streamer in Japan are playing these games. So yeah, Street Fighter 6, like, it's a whole over legacy, it's a whole over world, it's a whole over universe compared to other fighting games. Is how it's not considered as a fighting game anymore, it's considered as a mainstream game, so everyone plays it. So yeah, and back to 100 Line, I was saying that it's important to note that Famitsu sales numbers, it's only physical numbers, so they don't count Steam sales, and they don't count Nintendo eShop sales. So for an ADV game, for a visual novel with tactical RPG elements, this is a really good, like over 20k sales. This is really good for its first week. And so yeah, so it's pretty funny that Aniplex is distributing 100 Line, and yet the game is not released on a Sony console, because Aniplex is Sony, right? But they only release the game on Switch and PC. And Kodaka has talked about this on Twitter, and we don't know why, but it's definitely going to do with some kind of exclusivity deal or something. He said, we have no plans to port 100 Lines to other platforms, and the chances of that happening are very slim. So I guess Aniplex doesn't want to do that for whatever reason. They only wanted to release the game on Steam and on Switch. So if sales goes well, however, we would definitely like to work on updates for the Switch and Steam versions, as well as adding multilingual support. So for now, the game is only in Chinese and English and Japanese, I think, because, like I always say, the Chinese market is extremely big. And one thing for sure, Kodaka, in another tweet, he said that the game is selling well. So there's definitely, like, in China, the game must be selling a lot because it's one of the biggest markets for LEV games, like I always say. So it must be selling really well. And for now, he says that game sales are like going well, so hopefully the game will keep selling. And I didn't have the time to try that myself yet, but I think what I want to try to do is at least play the game, start playing the game, and at least playing through the first 100 days of the game to clear like the common route, and then maybe come back to it later and to do the other, to try and do the endings I like. And he talked about this as well, about the multiple endings and how 100 line is again like no other, so please play it with an open mind, free from preconceived notions. The goal is not to clear every single route, you can always go back and redo the choices. It's totally okay to wander back and forth along different paths. I created 100 line because I wanted to offer players a new and unique narrative experience. Each time you play, it feels like the entire universe has shifted, as the story takes on a completely different tone. I truly hope many people will experience this one-of-a-kind storytelling. If you enjoy it, please consider leaving a Steam or Switch review. This is our first original IP, and the whole team poured an abnormal amount of passion into its creation. We'll keep challenging ourselves to make more unique games in the future. So yeah, this is basically the English version of a Twitch he made in Japanese as well, where he was talking about how 別に全 ending やっても大丈夫. He was saying like it's not like you need to do all the endings, and it's more like if you do an ending, なんかエンディングをやってなんか違うかなみたいな感じされたら違うエンディングを追求してもいい. He was saying basically you should think of it like if you reach an ending and you're not satisfied with this ending, then you should continue. But then if you reach an ending and you're satisfied with it, then it's okay to stop. Like you don't need to do everything. And he was saying like if you feel like the ending you reach is lacking something or it doesn't feel right, then you should continue. This is something they talk about before the game release as well. There's actually a true ending in the game, but the game doesn't tell you which ending is a true ending. So it's up to you to like with the vibes and like whether maybe if you like for like it's like if it was up to you to pick the true ending you want. So if you think this is the true ending for you, then this might as well be the true ending of the game. So yeah, and this is something very different from past ADVs and from past visual novels. This is very unique indeed. So I definitely want to try out the game myself at some point. So yeah, and back to the sales. The other thing I wanted to talk about is Clair Obscur Expedition 33. So the game you could sell the game as only sold 10k copies in Japan, but this is not true at all, because again, this is only physical sales, and this doesn't count Steam sales, and this doesn't count like PlayStation Network sales, etc. And this is pretty good for a new RPG in Japan. And another funny thing is how the game Clair Obscur is published by SaGa in Japan. And I watched a lot of Japanese streamers, and it's not uncommon to hear Japanese streamer think that it's actually a Japanese game made by SaGa. Because if you didn't check the information in detail, and if you didn't hear about the game beforehand, because like obviously it's not like only Japanese people make like, it's not like Japanese developers only ever make like anime looking games, etc. So like for example, like you have tons of Japanese games that always had like realistic graphics, like for example the Silent Hill series, for example. Like the Silent Hill series has never looked like an anime, right? So it's not like uncommon for Japanese developers to make realistic looking games. So a lot of Japanese streamers I listen to, they end up thinking before playing the games themselves and before seeing the names like, oh, it's actually a French game. A lot of Japanese streamers say it's not uncommon to hear them think it's a Japanese game made by SaGa. So this is very funny. So yeah, I think Clair Obscur, they announced that it already sold over 2 million copies worldwide, and I think like the Chinese market again has been doing a lot of work, and the game has been selling really well in China from what I saw. And so yeah, so it's only 10k copies sold on PS5 physical, but most of the streamers I've seen playing the game, most of the Japanese streamers I've seen playing the game, I've been playing the game on PC anyway. So yeah, so this is not representative of the sales at all. So yeah, whenever you check Famitsu sales, you should always remember this, that it's not representative of reality at all, because it's only physical and it's only it's only physical and it's only in Japan. So yeah, so that's all for 100 line and Clair Obscur. So Koge Donbo Sensei, who is like one of my favorite artists, favorite mangaka, she's the original mangaka of Digi Karato, which is one of my favorite series ever. She's actually doing VTuber stuff lately, and a few months ago she started streaming on YouTube. And if you look at her Blue Sky, she's publishing some short videos as well with her 3D model. There's no sound in this video, right? So that's her 3D model. And she says, yeah, I'm a pro veteran mangaka with over 30 years of experience, and I started being a VTuber. So there's no sound in this video, but she's regularly published some short excerpts from this. And she regularly published some new merch and some new illustrations as well on her Blue Sky. Some new Gigi Karato merch has got released recently as well. And there's another excerpt here. In this one, she's talking. Well, she's actually not talking this one either. But yeah, she recently got over 4,000 subscribers, so you should definitely subscribe as well and check out her channel. She basically streams every Saturdays at midnight Japanese time. She just talks, she does some just talking, just chatting. She also answers questions from Marshmallow. Marshmallow is a very popular app in Japan that exists like for maybe over 10 years. It's mainly used in joint with Twitter. Like people can send in any kind of questions and then people answer them on Twitter via tweets. A lot of streamers do this while streaming, so they answer questions that they receive on Marshmallow while streaming. So she does this, and she does some drawing as well. She does some live drawings. Sometimes if she's for work and maybe she can't show what she's drawing, so she only shows herself, her 3D models. But sometimes she shows you what she's drawing at the same time and she's talking at the same time. So yeah, she's streaming every Saturdays basically at midnight GST, Japanese time. And she started a few months ago, so there's only a few live streams for now, and I'm trying to listen from time to time when I can. And she usually streams like two or 3 hours. She doesn't stream for too long. Recently, she also did a brand new manga, an Aroke-like manga with a reincarnation theme. It's a villainous manga she did. It's called Saitsuyo. So it's basically what if a really cool and strong karateka was reincarnated into the villainess in another world. It's basically in 2 parts. It's already over because it was in 2 volumes. So there's the first volume and the second volume. So you can find it on a Fanbox, etc. If you check Blue Sky. If you check Blue Sky at the on top, you can buy it on Amazon, on digitally, on Melon Books, on Torano Ana, and on Booth, Pixiv Booth as well. So yeah, it's only 2 volumes. I only read the first chapter back when it started, I think, and it's pretty cute. So you should check it out if you can. And be sure to check out YouTube as well. I will put the link in the description below and on the video itself as well. Oh yeah, and also for May Day, May Donohi, like on it's November 10th, it's May 10th. She publishes brand new illustrations of Dejiko as well, really cute Dejiko. So you should follow her on Blue Sky and on YouTube as well. So Konami has finally released a brand new remaster for the first Tokimemo game, Tokimeki Memorial Emotional, which is a remaster on Switch with the original graphics and a new graphic mode, which is like more modern for people who prefer it this way. And when the game was up to release on May 7th, they did a special stream with Kingetsu Mami, the seiyuu of Shiori. This was on May 7th. Kingetsu Mami-san, the seiyuu of Fujisaki Shiori. And she was pre-recorded. And this was one day before the game was released in Japan. And I wanted to talk about this because she said some pretty cool stuff, like in the intro, she was talking. Oh, she was saying she's happy that the remaster exists because some younger anime fans, etc., they don't really know about Tokimemo anymore, and she's also happy that Konami didn't forget about the series and actually did a remaster as well. So it's really interesting that she says this as well, because a lot of people, they say Konami is the worst company, but they still do good stuff as well too, because just like every company, there are some good stuff and some bad stuff, and sometimes they do some good stuff as well too. So yeah. So, and the other thing she was talking about is how she already played the game herself in the past, and she already got the Shiori ending as well, but she actually never got all the heroines. So now that the remaster is out, she's finally going to go through all the heroines one by one. And over on her Twitter account, she's been publishing some tweets to talk about how she got the heroines one by one. So she got 2 endings for now, like on May 8th and then May 13th. And she's slowly going through all the heroines, because this wasn't a live stream, she was pre-recorded, but she said she's actually already got the Shiori ending in the past, but she already got confessed to by Shiori, but she actually never got all the other girls confessed to her as well. So she's doing this with the remaster, so it's pretty cool. And the other thing is how Konami has also announced a 30th anniversary event, 30th anniversary live forever for Tokimeki Memorial, with all the seiyuu of the original heroines of the first game. And it's going to be held on May 17th and May 18th, so in a few days from now on when I'm recording this video. And this is a really big event because it's going to be 2 days. Like a lot of concerts in Japan, they do 2 days. So even if you didn't get for the first or the second one, at least you have 2 chances. And it's all lotteries. It's always lotteries to get tickets. You need to win a raffle to be able to buy tickets. And there's going to be a live stream as well. So even if you don't get tickets to go live there, at least you can still buy tickets to see it online. And the funny thing, the cool thing is how all the seiyuu, it's all the original seiyuu of the original game, and they've been doing rehearsals all these last few weeks, and they're publishing tweets about it on Twitter, and it's so awesome to see them together and having fun and doing rehearsals together. And they regularly publish, Kingetsu Mami-san is regularly publishing some tweets with all the seiyuu together, doing some rehearsals. So I wonder if maybe they're going to make a new announcement, Konami, at the event, maybe at Tokimemo 5 or maybe some remaster of 2. I think at the very least, they will do some remasters for 2. And maybe they will skip 3 because 3 has a bad reputation because it's full 3D and it's really bad art-wise. Maybe they're going to do remasters for 2 and then 4 and maybe make a brand new one, and we'll see. And regarding the girls' side, Tokimemo, they did remasters for 1 to 3, and then they did a brand new one for a few years ago with Yuki Kaji voicing the main heroine. And these games have been selling really well, and it's one of the reasons why, in my opinion, they decided to make a remaster for the first Tokimemo as well. So hopefully this remaster sells pretty well, and maybe, sadly, I don't think they will do some English localization, but like never say never, especially nowadays. These last 10 years, tons of impossible localizations have happened, and tons of impossible remasters and remakes have happened. Like Seiken Densetsu 3 got an official localization, Live Alive got an official localization, Sokko Aki Muramasa, Full Metal Demon Muramasa got an official localization, etc. Tons of games that never got released outside Japan got released in English now. So I wouldn't be surprised if Tokimemo gets announced maybe at some big event in the next few months for an English release. So yeah, that's all for this episode of Full Metal Fukumi Otaku News. Thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, and thanks for watching. Bye. See you later.